Well, we have finally returned. And, as expected, there is a lot of dust all over the boat. This is the area under the windshield, but you know, even here you can see piles of it, and the decks are completely coated as well. But we get the hose out and started rinsing all of this dust off. All in all, it sure looks pretty good. This dust, as I said, was not unexpected. It only takes a Calima blowing off of the Sahara to bring all of this dust back on board. And, it's significant. But we'll get it all hosed off and get Albatross cleaned up and ready to go. I've had the opportunity to scrub down the foredeck of the boat. I still haven't gotten to the back part yet. And as you can see here, the teak cleans up pretty well once we get all that Sahara dust off. The head is a nice comfortable size, a nice full-size sink. There's storage underneath. There's a sit-down seat for showering or dressing or whatever. And of course the toilet. One of the least pleasant jobs in owning a boat is when the darn head fails to work. And this morning, the Admiral said to me, "I can't get the toilet to pump out." I cavalierly said, "Oh, well, there's probably just a switch in the wrong position." Well, switches are in the right position, and it won't pump. So, I took the thing apart, rebuilt it, did find quite a bit of buildup of materials inside there. It's a very unpleasant job. Reassembled it all, put it together, and it still won't pump. Turns out this ball valve, which is the head overboard exhaust, is broken. Fortunately, it's broken in the closed position. So now I get to replace this ball valve, which normally isn't a big deal, but it turns out that because of the size of this valve, the thickness of it, I'm going to have to haul the boat out, and I'm going to have to take the through hull fitting itself out and the elbow off in order to get the new valve on and then reassemble it all. It's a little bit annoying. Okay, doing a little bit of work on the toilet here today, and I've just pulled the shower seat out and the backing piece to expose the hoses behind. This here is the drain for the shower. These are the hot and cold pressure to the sink. Obviously the big duct is heating, and this is the toilet overboard discharge. I disconnected and moved the heating duct to give me a little bit better access to the seized valve. There's a hull rib located directly behind the valve, and there's only about 10 millimeters of clearance between the valve body and this rib. The valve body has a handle nipple that projects out about 32 millimeters from the side of the body. Removing this valve is going to be a challenge. It appears that when Najad built this boat, they connected all of this, including the 90 degree, as one piece, and then screwed the through hull in from the outside, because there was just no clearance for this nipple here to spin off. The hull was so close. So, long story short, cut the nipple off thinking then I could spin the valve off, but even at that, everything was so tightly seized together that ended up having to cut away the through hull itself. And once that was done, I was able to pull the 90 off and then tear all of this apart. So what should have been a fairly simple replacement of a ball valve ended up being a number of, I was going to say hours, but actually it's been a couple of days thinking it through and gathering all the parts and getting everything together. It's a bit annoying, but it's out now. And here is all of our new hardware. New through hull fitting, a new 90-degree street L, a new ball valve, and a new nipple. All I've got to do now is get all of the hoses reconnected. And if you've ever worked with sanitation hose, you know what an unpleasant experience that can be. But that's the next step.
Albatross is fitted with solar panels and an AirX wind generator. While we were away, there was a very strong Calima that brought 40+ knots of wind and all of that dust. The wind generator took quite a beating in this Calima.
These are the remaining parts of the blades on the wind generator. We had one complete blade and pieces of the base of the other two blades. Now, in looking these pieces over, I really have no idea what happened. All I can do is speculate, but I'm guessing that perhaps due to exposure to the elements, particularly the sun, this plastic may have just gotten hard and brittle and eventually failed. But well, who knows for sure. The crack in this particular blade sort of leads me to think that we've just got an issue with fatigue and the plastic just breaking down, and probably when that 40+ knots of wind came through, the blade just separated. But again, never really going to know for sure.
A new set of blades for the wind generator, and hopefully they'll arrive very soon. Over the years, previous owners have added and removed a lot of electronics from Albatross's cockpit area, and the instrument mounting panels have started to look rather ragged and tired from sun exposure and from the addition and removal of these different electrical components.
Well, maintenance is a never-ending issue on a boat. I brought a few tools along on this particular trip so that I can make some new, I don't know what I'm going to call those, mounting boards, I guess. This is the original ones that had different instruments mounted on them, and yeah, they're just in pretty sad shape, and being varnished, they require ongoing maintenance. These new ones that I've made are out of starboard, and as a result, they won't have any maintenance. I'll still have varnish work to do here on the tops, but at least the area around the instruments, that will be starboard with no maintenance. And I need to change out the center one too, although somehow I neglected to bring the dimensions home with me last time, so I'll measure it this time and bring another piece of starboard with me next trip to the boat. Well, it's been another long day. This panel, I thought, I'd get that knocked out in an hour or so. I spent the entire day. But there we go. This is the new starboard panel, replacing the old wooden one that was there. Obviously, I've eliminated a lot of old holes and such that were in it. Over here on the starboard side, I've got the new panel cut out. And this is the old one, and hopefully tomorrow I'll get this one installed. But I'm pretty pleased with how that white starboard is going to look, and once we revarnish these upper panels, I think things will be looking a lot nicer up here. Well, this is the starboard side. I've now got the starboard panel installed on the starboard side. This cutout is where the speaker for the VHF goes. These wires here connect to the radar and plotter. I've removed the teak pieces on both sides. I've taken them back to a better location where I can put some fresh varnish on them. But I think this is going to be all right.
There are 3 toggle switches mounted in the starboard side cockpit coaming that supply power to the autopilot, the bow thruster, and the engine room blower.
These are the type of switches that are currently installed in the cockpit coaming. This style here, which is unfortunately made out of mild steel, controls the on and off for the autopilot and for the bow thruster. The little plastic toggle that's in there, this is used to control the blower fan in the engine room. And they're both functional. They're both working right now. But being mild steel, this one has already got a significant amount of deterioration. It does have a waterproof rubber boot over it, which has protected it. But the backside of it, even though it's inside of the coaming, is exposed to the salt air and such. And as a result, these are both just begging to fail. So we're going to make a replacement. I found this Blue Seas Weather Deck switch panel, which looks like it's going to be a very good replacement for the little toggle switches that are rusting away. The switches are protected against the elements, and it's a nice clean looking unit, and it should be a fairly straightforward just a drop-in replacement. Obviously, I'll have to enlarge the opening where it goes in, but wiring-wise, it should be very straightforward, and it'll be a huge improvement over those little toggle switches that are just
Creating a
begging to
suitable
fail.
mounting location for this new switch panel required relocating one of the deck wash outlets. We feel like we're making some progress in addressing Albatross's needs. The head is now working. The wind generator has new blades on order. The tired original cockpit instrument panels have been cleaned up and replaced with nice bright white starboard, and the cockpit switches for the autopilot and thruster have been renewed. There are many more projects that we're going to be addressing in this next year. The deck hatches, while still watertight, are starting to show their age, so we will be replacing all of them. The Admiral would like to replace all of the upholstery below decks. Up on deck, we need to replace the mainsail cover, have a binnacle cover made, and have the spray hood replaced. We'll have some new videos of Star White and Albatross in the spring. Thanks for watching.